While the theme of transformation was chosen, as Alessandro pointed out, for its relevance to the particular zeitgeist or moment in which we're living and operating, I personally find this theme to be fundamentally universal. It spanned generations and millennia of philosophy and literature and every geographical location ever known to mankind. One of the first works that comes to mind when I think about transformation is The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. The novella opens with the protagonist, Gregor Samsa, having awoken from dreaming, finding that he's been transformed overnight into a gigantic insect. Now, it may sound absurd, but that's also kind of the point. We've learned that even though this story at face value seems to make little logical sense, it imparts onto us many lessons that are immensely valuable to the way we go about thinking of and living our lives. First lesson: how do we construct our lives in a way that guarantees that we always get the best outcome? The answer is we don't. We're simply doing the best with what we're given. Gregor never wished to be turned into an insect, but as the story unfolds, he learns to adapt and make the best of his situation. Marketing professor and motivation theory expert Monica Vadva will share with us just how we can harness the potential behind bad outcomes. Point 2, transformation and the theory of identity are inextricably linked. Gregor's external change, the metamorphosis into an insect, sparks and is coupled by a much slower, longer, and more profound internal change, that in which his seemingly still human mind learns how to adapt and change to accommodate his new insect form. We're going to have Dave Nadelberg recount to us how stories and artifacts from our past can have a transformative effect on the way we internalize and see ourselves in the present. Point 3, similar to identity effects, transformation and the theory of economics have inextricable ties. In The Metamorphosis, Gregor's family, who once depended on his income to pay their debts, can no longer rely on his ability to work, since now he's a giant bug. As such, fundamental elements of their economic existence are now removed from the picture, forcing them first into a state of anxiety and then later into a state of reassurance and comfort. Our first speaker, Vivian Bertseka, will give us insight into sustainable capitalism, a paradigm shift, a new framework, and a system that she and her current organization, Generation, are pushing to become the new normal. When Vivian was at INSEAD, she went from being nearly convinced that she was going to return to her former employer, Apollo Global Management, to discovering one day when she was on a beach in the Philippines that what she really needed was a change. So she made a list, a 2-column sheet of paper that outlined in one column elements that she wanted the new job to have. For example, she wanted to stay in investing. It was a passion of hers and an area where she had developed expertise. But in the other column, she outlined things she either needed to change or did not want the next job to have, attributes or elements that were no longer appealing. She was looking for a cultural fit, a place where she could not only do investing work, but also maintain some of her quirky habits, such as recycling or hating material goods despite working in finance. Her friends told her upon looking at this list that this job didn't exist. It was much more of a fantasy than a reality. That is, of course, until one of her peers told her about Generation, and the rest was history. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our first speaker, Vivian Bertseka.